In this video, I'm going to show you how to add to something that is pre-existing. And in this case, I bought this sweater and bought it from Lane Bryant. And it was a great deal. It was on sale. The only thing of it is, and I love how lightweight it is, it's like perfect for fall weather. And even our winters down here. But the only thing of it is, I don't like football. It says on weekends, we watch football. If anyone knows me, knows that I absolutely hate football. And I'm a baseball girl all the way. I am a huge fan of the Cleveland Indians, now Guardians. I loved Kenny Lofton. Number 7 was like my favorite number because of him for the longest time. Omar Vizquel, Jim Thome, the original team that I grew up with in the 90s. I am going to actually change this sweater, and I'm going to show you how you can make a sweater and change it. And there's not much that is to this video. It's really simple. I'm just going to go ahead and put a line through football, maybe a couple lines, or maybe just like a nice long X. And then I'm going to put something down here at the bottom. So what I need to do is I need to open this up just a little bit better. And I'm going to get out my tape measure. Okay, so now that I have this all opened up, I simply just need to know how long the word football is, and it's roughly 9.5 inches. So I'm probably going to want maybe a 10.5 inch line, and I'm probably just going to, do I want to do an X? No, I don't want to do an X because this is already centered on the chest, and if I do an X, now I got to push my wording at the bottom, and now it's going even further down the stomach, right? And it may not look right. We're already going to be low as it is with adding the text beneath football. So I don't want to do that. I mean, it would be cute, but I think it's best not to do that, right? So I think I'll do a 11-inch line, and probably just as thick as this, which I would imagine this is probably a 1/4 inch, maybe 3/8 inch thick. That's actually a really good thickness. You could do 2 lines, but I think I'll just stick with 1. And then the question that I'm kind of been thinking about, because I've had this shirt in my stash and just haven't not gotten to it, and I want to get to it before it starts getting warm again. And believe it or not, today is November, like beginning of November, so I know this video is going to come out here soon, and the thing of it is, it's going to be in the 80s this weekend, but then it's going to drop. So our weather is unpredictable down here, just like Ohio used to be. But anyway, so the question is, do I want to put my text across the stars, or do I want it to fit in between the stars? And I think that if I put it in between the stars, it's going to get, I don't know if it's going to get lost, but it's going to be really tiny in comparison to the rest of the text. I mean, this is pretty small. I think I'm just going to go, maybe overlap it just a little bit, because everything's kind of off kilter a little bit. And do I want it over here? Well, we'll figure that out. So I think I'll do, because I'm going to put craft videos, because I love watching craft videos. It's just a good way to unwind and relax for the day, and to gain inspiration. So I think I'll do center, and I'll do 7 inches. So I need a 11-inch line, and my text needs to be roughly 7 to 8 inches long. Okay, so now that I have my measurements, I'm going to move this aside, and we're going to go ahead and hop into Design Space. The first thing that I'm going to do is going to go ahead and click on Shapes. Now, I am working in beta version right now, and I'm not sure what the current version is looking like. It's a little different than the non-beta. Beta is just a testing version of Cricut Design Space, and you can tell right here that it's in beta. So just bear that in mind if yours look a little different. Okay, so they still haven't fixed this bug, because every time you get into shape and then you try to close out of it, it wants to go into image. I mean, come on, let's fix that. And that, I mean, glitches happen in beta version, so it's okay. So I want a 3/8 inch rectangle. So first of all, I'm going to go ahead and unlock that. Okay, so the height is going to be 0.375, and then the width is going to be, I think we said 11 inches. Okay, that will get it to fit on a 12 by 12 mat, right? Okay, then I'm going to click on text, and then I'm going to type in, I'm going to bring this over here in the center. And I like this that Cricut Design Space now is going to allow you to center things or justify it. You see that like magenta line. I don't know if this is just the beta version or this has actually gone live, but I really do like that. It has been really useful. And then I'm going to type in craft videos. Okay, so I'm not going to worry about the size just yet. I'm going to first select the style of text, and unfortunately my bookmarked text has now gone away. They took that away, and I'm so upset that they did that. So I'm gonna use my favorite, but I gotta remember, oh, the Islander is the one that I really, really like. So I'm gonna go ahead, type in Islander. That's just one of my favorites. I'm gonna bookmark that. Hopefully you'll keep it. Okay, so now that I have the font that I like, I did say I could make this 7 inches, but we have to worry about the height of the text as well, because if I do 7 inches, the height is 1.65. I'm going to go ahead and change this to 1.25. This is a simple project that, again, if you especially if you go to those thrift stores and it's a good deal and you want to get it, but you're not quite sure, there's one thing that you don't like about it, this is a cute way of changing it without having to skip over buying it or trying to peel it off or whatever, which never really works. I don't need to save it just because I don't plan on doing this again. And then I will do on the mat, confirm, and then Cricut already, Design Space I should say, already flips it over when you select iron on, but if you're a little bit a nervous Nelly, just go ahead and click on that mirror here on the left side, hit continue, and then I am going to do everyday iron on. So this is all queued up and ready to go. So for me, I'm gonna use this Caesar Easy Weed HTV, and this is pink, and it's a nice bright pink. And honestly, when I was looking at my stash, I really was gravitating towards this one. So I used painter's tape which normally I don't have this kind of issue. Oh my God. Well, it's probably been on here for quite a while. Who knows the last time I used this, but I usually use painter's tape because it's not as tacky, but it's tacky enough to keep the vinyl roll rolled up. So I'll just take that part off. And then, so here's another vinyl tape. And I don't use the little rubber or silicone bands just because, I don't know, I just don't use it. That's just my personal preference. Just because I don't want it to not be able to slide easily in and out of my little cubbies. Okay, so I just put my tape here to the side. And then I like to have clean edges because I don't like having this. So I must have been in a hurry when I did this. I hate when I do that. So I'm just going to trim that part off, put this in my stash, like my scrap stash. And then I'll go ahead and, store that. Okay, so I just need to measure out 11 inches. And actually, I'm going to go over. I'm just going to go to 11.75 because you need a little bit longer than just 11 inches based off of the little image. This now can be in my scrap bin because it's no longer going to stay on there really well. So I'll put that in my scrap bin as well. And obviously I don't need this whole thing, and I'm just looking in Design Space how much I need. So looking at Design Space, it looks like I just need 2.5 inches of this. So what I can do is just trim that down. I always like to go a little bit more than trying to guesstimate, you know, based on what's being shown in Design Space. So I think a 2.5 inches is going to be, actually I'm going to go ahead and go just a little bit more, probably more than I really need to do. Okay, there you go. And this is going to go to the scrap bin as well. So it's nice to get a roll out of my craft cubby. So let me know in the comment section if you are like me and have to have straight edges. If I ever cut my vinyl rolls to get a piece, it's because I'm busy, or like I'm in a hurry, or I'm just super busy. I rarely ever cut vinyl rolls, or with my scissors. I always have to use my paper trimmer. That's weird. Okay, so I'm just gonna go ahead and now make sure there's a shiny side. Oops. There's a shiny side on all iron-on, and then there's a dull side. So you want to, if you're new to iron-on, you just want to make sure that you have the shiny side facing down, and you want to make sure that you line it up. Okay, make sure there's no air bubbles in there, and then we are just going to feed this through the Cricut. I'm going to hit done on my screen. Okay, so I am using my phone for this because I don't have an overhead camera for my Cricut, so bear with me. And so I just fed it through my Explorer Air 3. I'm going to go ahead and hit the play button, and then it is going to start cutting, and we should be good to go in a few minutes. And after it's done, I'm going to hit the unload button right here, and then we can start the weeding process. Okay, I hit the unload button and it did beautifully, so I'm just going to go ahead and peel this off my mat. And this, then I am going to put my liner. I always put my liner immediately on after I am done cutting because I don't want my mat to get dirty, and because, you know, they only last for so long. And this is 405 brand, so this is Hobby Lobby's brand, and I have to tell you, I absolutely love their Cricut mats. So take a look at them, try them out. They're cheaper. I think you can get 2 of them. In fact, I just bought some because we're going to do a craft with a Cricut mat for card making, but I just bought the light grip mats, and there's 2 of them for $7.50, and they're really good quality. I've always been a strong advocate for Hobby Lobby's vinyl and their the mats I just recently got into, and I am a converter for sure with their mats, but their vinyl I think is good quality. I've never had issues like I've had with Design Space issues. Okay, so now remember, we cut, if you're new to iron-on, this is the shiny side. That's the part that they didn't cut. The part that was cut is the back, so you want to flip it over. And I'm using, that was my heat press. We're using a weeding tool. You can use a pin tool. I like to use a traditional weeding tool for projects like this, when I'm not doing intricate cuts. Now, when I'm doing something very intricate, then yes, I definitely do opt to use a pin tool. But usually iron-on is, I love to weed iron-on. It is so much easier. And I have my little trash can here that my husband 3D printed. I wouldn't say I love, I'm a hit or miss with weeding iron-on. To me is a little bit more satisfying to weed traditional vinyl, but it's just, I love how easy it is. I should have been a little bit more clear on that. Okay. I'm so excited that I'm getting to this. I've had this in my craft room for about a month now, because I was trying to push out other content, Halloween and Thanksgiving, or not Thanksgiving, but fall, and now that that's done, I can focus on getting some miscellaneous crafts done, as well as start the Christmas crafting. I know there are a ton of content creators who've been already started Christmas crafting videos long before November even started, and kudos to them, but I just couldn't skip over some fall crafts. I mean, I don't know. It was, you know, anyways. So we have craft videos, perfect. The thing of it is, I need to cut this apart. So yes, I could have saved all of that, but to be honest, I have a lot of vinyl. I'm okay with a little bit of waste. I will survive. And to be honest, vinyl has a shelf life. So, and I bought a lot, and that's not something that I would recommend doing. Because it does have a shelf life. So the next few items that you're going to need is you're going to need a lint roller to get all the lint. They do recommend washing your garment. I did not wash mine. I typically don't. Only because I always wash my clothes in cold water. I've done the research, and research suggests it doesn't do any better. I don't know. I could be completely wrong, but I always do it in cold water. And then I air dry a lot of my pants and almost all of my shirts, mainly because I like the texture after it air dries as opposed to running it through the dryer, and also to allow my garment to last longer, so I don't ever dry my clothes unless I'm being super lazy that weekend and don't really want to fuss with my clothes. Okay, so I don't have to worry about too much of getting it on center because it's kind of off kilter here a little bit. So I am going to, let me see here. This. Here we go. So I'm going to lint roll just that area that we're going to do the iron on. Good thing I did because there's a lot of lint. Okay, that should be good enough. So we have that. Now, we're going to add the line. You can kind of do something like this, or do we want to do it straight over? I don't know. I kind of like it just straight across. What do we think? But if I don't get that line exactly straight, that's going to bother me. Okay, I think that looks good, honestly. So we'll just do a straight line. And then I am using my EasyPress, and I have it at 2 wavy lines. Oh my goodness. And you also want to put a parchment paper to protect the, whatever this is. I don't know if this is screen printed. It probably is screen printed. And so you want to put your parchment paper over it. Now, if you're not quite sure what this is, because the texture feels like it's screen printed, you just want to make sure that you kind of look at it, test it out, make sure it's doing okay, because you don't want to melt it. I'm not even sure what it is, so I want to make sure that, you know, I'm not, and maybe even applying low heat and testing it out that way probably would have been the smarter thing to do, but I just did not think about it until I started applying the heat to it. So we're just going to go with it. And if it ruins the word football, I could care less because I don't like football. And if you love football, that's good. I have no problem against anyone who loves football. I just feel like it was just, I don't know, I just don't like it. I have my issues with football. I never liked it as a kid, so it is what it is. Okay. So I think there's enough heat on this. Yeah, that's gonna stick down. Now you can remove your mat. I have a glass mat. This will cool it down. You can even flip it over to cool it down even quicker. And then, yeah, it cooled it down super fast. I'm gonna peel that up. Love it. Okay, you want to keep that in case you want to reapply heat. So you just put that back over your vinyl, put the parchment paper, or actually you don't even need to. You just use your parchment paper since you have that out already and iron it on that way, or re-iron it on, I should say. I am super excited that I went with this pink color. I thought it was too bright of a pink, and you know what? Actually, I think it works. It really does. Okay, I think that's good actually, right there. Again, putting that parchment paper over just in case I hit any of the vinyl or the screen print, and applying my heat with constant motion. With the little mini press, you want to make sure you consistently move it to distribute that heat across the vinyl. Okay, removing that heat mat because that does retain a lot of heat, so it will take it longer to cool down, and then I'll flip it over to cool it down even quicker. And then it takes no time at all once you flip it over for it to cool down. And then I'm going to carefully peel this back, making sure that there are no pieces lifting. And this one didn't come out as smooth as this one did when I was pulling the liner back up. So I'm just going to go ahead and just put my parchment paper back down, hit that with the heat. Now this glass mat is heat resistant, so if I'm doing it quickly, I don't mind not putting that mat back down. And then I'm just going to shoop, and there we go, just to kind of reinforce that. And that should be perfection. And that is how you fix a shirt that you liked but doesn't really fit the personality of you. You just cater it to your own. I just think this is hilarious. Anyone who knows me, they're gonna laugh, they're gonna think that's so you, and I just think this is absolutely perfect. All right, friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this tutorial. I will catch you guys in the next Cartercraft video. Bye.